Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we set up schema monitoring for our ClickHouse cloud database. So prior to recording this video, I've provisioned a new database on ClickHouse Cloud. I've set up something like 20 tables here. I have an empty GitHub repository where we're going to set up the actual workflow that will run and monitor our schema. And we have a fresh Atlas Cloud account where we will be reporting the data to. Let's begin by setting up access from GitHub Actions to our Atlas Cloud account. So we will generate this access token. And now let's set up a secret on GitHub Actions with our token. This way, when we run our GitHub Actions workflow, we can report data to our cloud account. The other thing that I've already done is set up the connection string to my database in a secret named DB URL. With the secrets all set up, we can now create our workflow. So I'm going to copy this example from the Atlas Cloud console. I'm going to go to Actions, create a new workflow, and paste the configuration here. I'm going to quickly commit this so I can run the workflow and discuss it while it's running. So let's go here and run the workflow. So let's review what the workflow actually does. So we defined a new GitHub Actions workflow named Atlas Schema Monitoring. It is triggered either by a workflow dispatch, meaning we can manually dispatch it, or with a cron schedule of every 4 hours. The workflow has 2 steps. The first one is to set up Atlas. This installs the Atlas binary on your GitHub Actions runner. And the second one uses the monitor/schema workflow, which connects to the database at this connection string, which we load from the secret named DB URL, and reports to Atlas Cloud using the Atlas Cloud token secret. So while we were talking, our job ran to completion. And when it's done, it prints out a link directly to the Atlas Cloud console where you can see the monitored schema. This is an entity relation diagram that you can click to learn more about the schema of your database. Additionally, if we go to the Docs tab, we get a searchable documentation where we can find more details about the different tables in our database. So generating an ERD from your database is pretty useful. But as you know, software is never done and things constantly change. So one of the cool things about schema monitoring is that you get a mechanism that continuously updates your database documentation as your schema evolves. Let's see how. So coming back to our ClickHouse console, let's create a new table and call it demo new table. And we're going to have one column here, call 1, and it's going to be a string column. Let's create this table now. Now we can go back to our Atlas Schema Monitoring job and rerun the workflow. This will take a few seconds, but once it's done, we get a fresh link to our schema documentation where we can find our demo new table was created. If we want to inspect the specific changes, we can always go to the changelog and see that at 11:52, Atlas Schema Monitoring detected the creation of this table. We can also view this as a visual diff. If we go into the main ER diagram screen, we click the diff button and we can compare between the 2 versions. When you are building an application, many functions in your organization might be interested to know when the database schema changes. For example, compliance, security, or adjacent engineering teams might be impacted when you make changes to the database. So to support that, we have created the webhooks feature that lets you send Slack or plain HTTP notifications whenever your database schema changes. Thanks for joining us today. If you want to learn more, head over to our website at atlasgo.io/monitoring.